right now to give you an update on that deadly explosion in the city of Wayne. 2 people were killed and 2 others were injured after Frank's furniture store exploded shortly after 9 o'clock yesterday morning. The city is about to hold a news conference right now.
My name is Robert English.
Let's listen
I'm
in.
the acting city manager. As many of you know, Mr. Zek was city manager yesterday, and it was his last day. Mr. Zek is here to assist us. But at this time, we'd like to give you an update on what is occurring at the site. As you said, we all said yesterday, it was a very tragic day in the city of Wayne. We are continuing the investigation. The police chief is here. The mayor will speak after myself and talk about it. The fire chief, Mel Moore, will discuss what is going on with the current investigation, as will the police chief, Jason Wright. At the same time, Consumers Representative Deborah Dodd will bring us up to date on the situation of the homes and the gas situation. At this time, we have city staff going through the buildings to look at the structural integrity of the buildings along Wayne Road that are boarded up, and hopefully we can get those buildings, stores, opened up as soon as possible. This is an ongoing, at this time, it will be an ongoing police and fire investigation as to an explosion. And as I said, they'll speak to that when they get up here. This time, I'd like to turn it over to the mayor of the city of Wayne, Al Haddis.
Thank you, Bob. Let me start by addressing our thought and prayer to the family of the victims. And our prayer go to Paul Franks. He's still at the university under critical condition. And we will live this by working together, and I can't thank the people and the agency who respond to assist and help us. I have a list of 30 agencies respond from 4 counties, Wayne County, Oakland, Washtenaw, and Macomb. And I can't thank enough those men and women who rushed to our help and did excellent job, the way they did the search, the way they secured the area, and that it showed the public safety in our region. It's well trained, well equipped, and we appreciate their professionalism. And I like special thanks to the Salvation Army, who really, it's not the first time respond to the need in the city of Wayne, and they did excellent job. And we appreciate their support, and we hope to continue our support to them. I like to thank all those who sent foods to the worker, to the city staff, to the families of the victims at the police station. I can't thank enough everyone who got involved with us, even you, the media. You've been carrying our message to the public on many sensitive issues, the traffic, the situation around the sites. And I really like to take advantage of one situation. I'd like to ask Mr. Zak to come forward. As you know, Mr. Zak worked a little bit more than 30 years for the city of Wayne, 18 of those as a city manager. And yesterday, midnight, was his last day. And he worked all the way till last minute. And it's not the end we was hoping for you to have, John, but we appreciate your sincerity and your integrity and your hard work for the city of Wayne, and it will be remembered for a long time. And thank you again. And at that note, I'm going to turn the podium to both Chief and Consumer Energy for technical question. Thank you.
Good morning. I can bring you up to speed where we're at, and after we all talk, we can field some questions for you. At this point, for everybody that's aware, all the victims have been removed from the building. Mr. Paul Franks, the owner of the business, was removed yesterday morning. He's at U of M Medical Trauma Center at this time, being taken care of. The other two victims were removed. The first victim was removed approximately 7 p.m. last night, and that was a 64-year-old male, and he is deceased. And the second victim was removed approximately 10:45 last night, and that was a female, 54 years of age, and she was deceased also. So at this time, we are ongoing with an investigation that will resume this morning. The investigation will. We have EPA on site to kind of go over whether there's any problems or any situations we have to deal with. They're there right now doing some monitoring testing. As soon as they're complete with that, approximately about 11 o'clock, they'll have their samples and stuff. We'll be able to clean up the roadway, and possibly by late this afternoon, we'll have the roadway cleared up and continue with our investigation, and then the site cleanup will be taken care of. But as far as the fire side of it, everything went great. As the mayor talked, we appreciate all the assistance and help from all the communities, the support of the community that we work in. Everything went very well yesterday, as good as it could be expected. The debris is very heavy. Like I told you before, we were dealing with concrete trusses that fell, so the weight and the time consuming took extra time in that case for that because of the weight and the removal. But at this time, everything is mitigated in that situation except for the investigation and cleanup.
Chief, let me ask you.
We have a question.
Yeah, we'll go. Thank you.
Chief.
Good morning. Last night, we kept units at the site. We had officers monitoring, making sure that nobody went near the site. We made sure that all the businesses were boarded up and monitored, which occurred in the evening and into the late hours. All of them were boarded up that had broken glass and secured. The officers are going to remain out there through the duration of this to maintain the security of the area so that the firefighters can do their job and investigate as to how this all transpired. Wayne Road is going to remain closed until all of the trucks, the debris, can be moved out of it. None of that can occur until the EPA finishes what they have to do this morning. The only road that is closed is Wayne Road. Glenwood is open. The tree streets, Ash, Elm, and Chestnut, they are open to the residents. However, we're not allowing any of that traffic to spill out onto Wayne Road. I would ask the many curious citizens and neighboring citizens as well, who I'm sure would like to go up and see what's going on. If you could stay out of the area, it would make it much easier for us to do what we have to do instead of having to keep people back constantly. The quicker that we can get our investigation complete, the quicker we can get a resolution on this. And that is all that I have for you guys right now.
This time I'd like to ask consumers, Deborah Dodd, to come up and give you an update as far as the gas situation.
We completed temporary repairs on Main behind Frank's furniture store overnight. Those temporary repairs address the emergency situation. We will be back out there very shortly to start permanent repairs on that main. The 9 customers who were displaced last night as a result of having no gas service are going to be allowed back in their homes today. We are asking them to please go to the fire department on Wayne Road, and we will have a Consumers Energy person, a service person, escort you to your home. They will make sure that your home is safe in well working order. We ask that you do not go back in unless you are accompanied by a Consumers Energy employee.
Has the investigation taken place already? Can you confirm that this was actually caused by a natural gas leak, and how did it happen? What caused the building to explode?
No, as you can imagine, we haven't even really been able to start the investigation yet with the magnitude of the damage. We are working with the Michigan Public Service Commission, OSHA, the Pipeline Hazardous Safety Materials Administration will be out here today, so we're just going to be beginning our investigation today, which frankly will probably take weeks, if not months, to complete.
Deborah, what are some of the theories here in general? When something like this happens, what would lead to something like this in the first place?
You know, we can't even speculate at this time. We've got to be able to do our investigation first.
Ms. Dowd, let me ask you though, but right before the explosion, twice there were phone calls. I'm not putting you on the spot.
Right.
But there were twice there were phone calls that says we smell gas.
Correct.
9 o'clock, there was an explosion.
And we were out on both of those calls. One occurred at about 6 a.m. on Chestnut Street. Another occurred about 8 a.m. and we were actually on site at the second time when that explosion occurred. We were investigating for the possibility of a gas leak when the explosion occurred. So we were on site, and we were on site very promptly. The timing was just very, very unfortunate.
The line that you said is that you already made temporary repairs on. What was wrong? What repairs needed to be made? Did it split somehow? Did it rupture somehow? What was the problem?
We found some damage to that 2-inch main. We don't know what caused that damage, whether it was caused by the explosion. We don't know at this time, so that'll all be part of our investigation.
But you're going to start permanent repairs when, today?
If not today, over the weekend. It is the holiday, so it may not get started until later today, tomorrow, Monday. But it is definitely safe. We've made temporary repairs to address the emergency situation, so it is safe. We're allowing customers to go back in their homes. Again, we do want to accompany them to make sure that there is no lingering presence of natural gas or any other problem in their home.
To the fire chief, is it possible when these victims were pulled out, when something like this happens, could they have survived the initial blast at all, even for a few minutes, or is this something where they wouldn't have been able to make it immediately?
Due to the collapse in that, I think they were trapped immediately inside the building and were unable to get out. The one victim we were able to get to right away was back in the back part of the building, so that's why we were able to get to him. Due to the rest of the collapse, and like I stated, with the heavy concrete else that had fallen down, there was no way to get in through the building in the initial without doing what we did to get through there with heavy equipment.
Chief, let me try that question, taking it the next step without getting too morbid or too gory, but I mean, once you reach those victims, were there physical injuries, severe, when you found them, or were they in some sort of a cavity among the debris? Can you describe their physical condition once they were found?
The victims were removed by the USAR team, and our guys went in and then pulled them out. How they were trapped and what they were done, they were being removed with heavy equipment was in there. Whether they were trapped under the equipment or just trapped in a void space, I'm not even sure. I wasn't in on the scene because I don't work with the USAR team. I was on the outside. So as far as that report, we haven't got back all the reports from the USAR team yet of exactly how they, the victims are at the medical examiner. They're going through an autopsy to determine the cause of death, but they were trapped, amongst the debris is all I can say. Exactly how I can't tell you.
When do you expect the businesses to reopen, I should say?
I'm sorry?
When do you expect the businesses to be able to reopen?
We're looking at probably by noon today. If not, we're working on it right now. We have the building department is out. They're going to do a walk through the buildings just to make sure stuff is safe. Consumers is going to go back, make sure all the businesses get relit, their gas services back on and stuff throughout the day. So they should be able to be back up and running, if not noon, at least early afternoon. And that's kind of our high priority this morning as the city is to get the businesses back in line on Wayne Road, get Wayne Road back open, and we also, in the same token, then we have the other side of continuing the investigation.
Deborah, there are probably people all across Metro Detroit who are wondering, wow, this could happen in my business, in my neighborhood, in my house. Is there anything that people can do in advance of something like this?
Obviously, if you smell gas, call us. That is, something that we are always educating our customers about. We do have a very vigorous pipeline inspection program, and, we do things, operate as safely as possible.
If you're going to do the permanent repairs without having a conclusion as to the cause, then how do you figure it out from there at that point?
You know, the damaged portion of the main was removed. It will be sent for part of an investigation and inspection, and that may turn up some clues as to what happened. But we do have to make permanent repairs out there.
Deborah, was there there was a report going around that I don't know if it was the fire officials, police, consumers, that it was determined that the leak origin was behind the store in the alley. Have you made that determination?
No, we have made no such conclusion right now. Again, that's got to be all part of our investigation.
It could also possibly have been something internal in the store.
You know, those are all factors, yes, that will go into the investigation.
Okay, and I just got this photo this morning. It was taken at 9:12 yesterday morning. It's the first I've seen it. It was taken by someone at the hardware store across the street. And it shows not only the blast, but it shows flames and fire in the back of the store. Is this sort of photo evidence an indication of the origin? I mean, after the blast, if there's still a fire, that fire would be fed by the ongoing flow of the natural gas, would it not?
Again, I can't speculate. I wasn't there. It will all be part of our investigation.
Who would make that determination?
That will be something that we're working in, again, in conjunction with the Michigan Public Service Commission. The local police and fire departments are going to be part of that investigation. PHMSA, OSHA, all those agencies will be involved as part of the investigation.
After the initial explosion and working to cut off the gas flow to the furniture store area, there was still evacuations later on in the afternoon, even to City Hall, as far away as City Hall.
Correct.
Was that all related, or was that different?
We shut down initially one gas main, and then about an hour later, we did smell, people on the site started smelling the presence of gas, so we started checking, and we did find that second leak behind Frank's Furniture Store on that second main. So that's when an additional evacuation occurred.
All the way to City Hall?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Deborah, some of the businesses are going to be reopening this afternoon. Will the owners consider themselves being safe, despite what has happened and despite the fact there is still an ongoing investigation?
Correct. Well, we will, obviously, as was previously stated, we will be going back in those businesses and checking everything out for the presence of gas, checking their appliances, that sort of thing. But yes, we have made the repairs to make things safe. That was our top priority, and we've done that, and we do believe that the area is safe at this time.
Cleanup. Who can talk to us about cleanup, and when do you expect that to start, and who will be actually handling that?
Right now, we're waiting for the EPA, as I stated, to do the cleanup, and the cleanup will start as far as Wayne Road right away. Once EPA gives us the okay today, once they get their testing done, we have to wait for the results from the testing to continue with the building cleanup and removal of the building. But we're at least going to clean up from the front of the building. Yeah, on the Wayne Road and the sidewalks in front to open up the main thoroughway and that right today. EPA is just determined if there's asbestos and anything in the building that, being old buildings and on a commercial site, a lot of times there's asbestos and different things, so they just want to make sure the cleanup's done properly. And why we do the cleanup today, we'll hose it down, we'll make sure everything stays wet, and that'll keep the dust if there's any problems or anything with that from the area, so there won't be any issues. It's just a normal policy. I mean, anytime they tear down a building, you have to do an EPA testing for that building, so that's what they're going to do.
So you anticipate around 11 a.m., that's when cleanup will actually start?
According to EPA, they said they should have their testing and stuff done by 11 a.m., and we can continue from there. So we're hoping, and realistically probably be noon, but but we're hoping to get done early afternoon.
And who will be in charge of the cleanup at this point?
At this point, I mean, the fire department and police department will be involved in what's going on there. Belfour is a company on site right now, and they're going to take the lead in doing all the cleanup. It's Belfour Restoration, and they'll be doing the lead on the cleanup and taking care of the Frank's Furniture situation at this time.
Chief, I have another question about this picture. When you responded to this call yesterday, do you have like a map of the building? Do you know where a furnace or a boiler that would use gas service might be located, so you know in terms of the danger of your men and what you're up against when you're fighting the fire and doing a rescue? And have you seen this picture? I mean, You obviously were out there, you knew where the fire was, but this just seems pretty telling when you see all the pile of debris and then this real hot fire right in the middle toward the
where it is.
I mean, is that where the boiler was located?
The picture, are you on Wayne Road or in the...
That's looking at the front of the store from Wayne. Okay. I mean, so what are we looking at with that fire?
Possibly what you're looking at, and no, I wasn't there yesterday morning. I actually was on vacation up north, and I came back yesterday after this incident happened. So the guys that responded on scene, and to start your first question, we do fire inspections inside the city of Wayne. We do mapping of the businesses. We laid them out. Our Deputy Chief Fire Marshal just did a fire inspection on this building 2 weeks ago, did a walkthrough. Our crews went over, did walkthroughs of the building. I mean, we were very well aware of most of the businesses in town, if not all of them, of where stuff is located. Back in the area where you're at, this is where their furnace and their back storage area was. So that would be where the gas line come in and where the meter was. Where it comes in, that would be their furnace area. So that could be just from the explosion, could have set anything on fire back there in the storage area and that, because you're on the back side of the building there is where you're at off in the alley side. That wasn't in the alley, it was in the building actually. When our guys got there, they actually had to put some fire out to get Mr. Franks out of the building, and that's what that is. But we do investigation, or not inspections, which give us layout of the buildings and that for the safety of our firefighters. If I may, one question. You had a question earlier about the smell of gas and different things, and Mrs. Dodd referred to that. What I'd like to respond on that also is if people smell gas, evacuate your building immediately, call a local fire department. You can call consumers at the same time, but at least call the local fire department. The biggest thing is to evacuate the building. When people smell gas, sometimes they go in, they investigate their own house, they walk around, they turn on lights, they do certain things. A pilot light, anything can set, a smell of gas off. So when you're looking at that, people need to be aware of safety for themselves. Get out of the building, get in a fresh air area, and call a local fire department, and then they can deal with consumers or move on from there or whatever needs to be done.
Chief, was there anything, or could you talk about if anything was uncovered or found in that inspection 2 weeks ago at Frank's? Was there anything unusual?
No, it was a normal inspection. Frank's runs a very good business in town. Always, he's a furniture salesman. They keep it neat and clean. I think we had a couple emergency lights that had to be repaired and batteries in them, and that was basically it. Other than that, it's a fairly. He has a different storage area, so we don't have a problem with furniture storage there. It's more of a display area, and then they have a little bit of a storage room in the back, which is minor.
Chief, are you releasing the names of the victims?
Not out of respect to the families, not at this time.
Chief, can we have your name?
My first name is Mel, M-E-L. My last name is Moore, M-O-O-R-E.
What time did they get Paul out of the building? Do you have a timeline yet?
Of what?
What time did Paul get taken out of the building?
He was rescued first thing in the morning, probably right after the explosion. Exactly what time, I'm not sure, but he was pulled out pretty quick in the morning.
I received the call at 9:19.
That's when he was taken out of the building, or when they got to him?
No, when he was taken out by then.
Mr. How deep was the line that was repaired? The line behind the business, behind Frank's, and how far set back from the business, the building itself, was this line that's in question that's being repaired?
I don't know that at this time, but I can find out and let you know.
Do you know how old the line is?
Again, I don't know that. I can check that out.
The first call was on Chestnut that you investigated. The second call was where?
On Chestnut as well, at a different address.
Will you, is it on the same line? How much is just the damages cost the city of Wayne so far?
We are going to, as we would on anything of this nature, do a damage assessment, get the costs from all the city departments and agencies, and calculate that. It'll probably take us a week or so to get that put together.
You're talking about millions of dollars right now, right?
We don't know exactly as of yet. And there's, as the mayor said, there's approximately 30 other agencies involved who expended funding as well. And that is why we declared state of emergency yesterday to hopefully go to the state and get some recourse on some money back. This time I'd also like to thank, I think it says a lot about human nature. Fire employees, firefighters that we laid off recently, showed back up on the scene to assist. I think it says, as I said, a lot about the integrity of the individuals involved. Also, at this time, as Ms. Dodge said, anybody that needs assistance to go back into their homes, go to the fire station. Also, any calls for information regarding this, I would like for people to use the fire station phone number, which is 722-1111. At this time, this will probably be the last scheduled press conference. Unless something comes up, then we'll notify you. But I anticipate this will be the last press conference. Yes, sir.
When you say that there's a state of emergency in Wayne, exactly what does that mean?
Well, what that means is that we have all these units involved, and it's through the emergency management system. It's a way to then go back to the state and request reimbursement for some of the funding that we used. As you know.
Is that still going? How long will that go on?
Chief, how long is that in effect?
That'll take a while. I mean, to recoup the cost, you're saying? State of emergency. We'll claim it, and then once we mitigate the situation totally today or tomorrow, the investigation, and that's done, and then gets down where it goes to the company to do the cleanup of the building, then that'll probably do the end of that with the emergency. Probably within the next 2 days, yes.
And Mr. English, you mentioned the laid-off firefighters. How many?
I believe there was 3 that showed back up last night.
And how many total layoffs?
There was the last 3 that we laid off.
And how recently was that?
Approximately November 19th.
Is that one of several rounds of layoffs?
Yes, it is.
How many have you had in the last year?
Unfortunately, over the last couple of years, we've gone from about approximately 170 full-time employees to about 90 full-time employees at this time.
Firefighters or
No, full-time city employees.
Fleet, okay.
And the firefighters, I believe we've laid off a total of 5, and then 1 other position that we did not fill through attrition. So 6 firefighters, less than it was about a year ago. At this time, I'd like to thank you all. And as I said, if you have any questions, call 722-1111. Thank you.
We've been listening to a news conference about that deadly explosion in the city of Wayne yesterday, and that was Robert English, the brand new city manager, who just starting today. The outgoing city manager, John Zeck, had that job for 18 years and worked with the city more than 30. Talk about a last day on the job. A lot of thanks for all the people who came out to help in the search and rescue efforts yesterday. In the aftermath of that explosion, quick recap, temporary repairs were done on that natural gas line behind Frank's overnight. According to a Consumers Energy spokesperson, they will start permanent repairs today. That area has been deemed safe. The 9 customers who were evacuated last night will be allowed back in, but they must first go to the fire station on Wayne Road so a Consumers Energy person can escort them into their homes to make sure it is indeed completely safe for them. Wayne Road is still closed in that area because of the cleanup and the investigation, so police are asking people to steer clear of that area so they can focus on their work and protect those other buildings affected. The EPA is on site there taking tests to make sure that there are no other leaks or any other concerns. That should be done around 11 o'clock. If you have questions, again, the number to call, 734-722-1111. 734-722-1111. Be sure to stay with Action News for complete updates and the latest news on this deadly explosion. And you can always get the latest on WXYZ.com.